Goes. Okie dokie. Well, welcome everybody back to fractalu.com. Are we having fun or what? We're super excited tonight. We're going to have Iris talking about her extensive work teaching young people to see without their eyes and the trance state and the brain state and all the fun stuff. And Patrick, who wrote that software, is with us just to say hi as needed. So first, we're just going to have some brief introductions. We have short announcement from Russell, and then we have a short announcement from Tufan, and then I'm going to introduce Iris, all of which will be very brief. So first, Russell, then go ahead.
Yes, greetings family. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. Quick announcement. Finally, the Discord channel the link is working at fractalu.com. So everybody, please join in. Come and join the conversation. Soon for Discord, we will be adding in all the gadgets and gadgets, a couple of bots, just updating it so we have better communication and most importantly, better connection between the tribe. Also wanted to say we could see the economy of the world is changing. Right now, the crypto NFT markets are down, but soon we're thinking once the markets go back up, we'll be able to launch a Genesis NFT project, and anybody that's interested in that, we can be in touch and talk about that. So that's it for me right now.
Wonderful. Thank you, Russell. That's great. So the Discord conversation is started. I also put a link to that Discord on the courses page as well, fractalu.com/courses. That's perfect. And we got to thank Russell for his dedication on the programming side. Discord is a powerful way to network, so it's very cool. Super. Thank you. And now a short announcement from Tufan Guven, our moderator.
Hello, everyone. This is Tufan Guven, representative at geometricmodels.org, where you can find sacred geometry modeling and educational tools. So I'll give you some details about our courses very shortly. So all courses are being taken place on Sundays at 2 p.m. New York time, 11 a.m. California, and 8 p.m. Paris time, with open discussion and Q&A at the end of each class. Now the classes are planned to last for 90 minutes. And we would like everyone to share their questions on the chat box, and we will go over them at the end of each session. So these lectures are taking place on Zoom, and the login details for each class are shared online at fractalu.com/courses. And these courses are also being recorded and will be shared on YouTube by Dan Winter. And also a reminder for next week. Next week, I will be giving a lecture about the basics of fractal field physics, and I will be going over some basic key technical terms that Dan Winter also uses extensively, like phase conjugation, charge collapse, implosion, constructive wave interference, harmonic inclusiveness, bioactive fields, and perfect embedding. So we will give simple examples from daily life and try to simplify those terms and explain what they are. This week we are having a very interesting topic, and I would like to welcome our guest, Iris Huizing. Welcome, Iris.
Thank you, Huizing. So I was just going to do a short introduction for Iris. I'm so excited also that, Iris has been working with our flameinmind.com/outer vision, the Brainwave software co-designed by Patrick Botti, who is also with us. And I was particularly excited. Iris is doing a training series online for people who want to teach children to learn to see without their eyes and go into that trance bliss state and brain coherence. And so that series of teaching courses has begun. And something wonderful emerged in that conversation in that course that Iris sponsored last week, which was that, before the children say, I saw a plasma tube vortex open in my head like an eyeball, even Iris mentioned that many of the children report they see like little scintillating splinters of light, and then they kind of gather together gradually into a vortex, and sometimes it's a line or a point. So it's like there's a preliminary step before the plasma tornado appears inside your head and the children can be aware. It's like the coherent plasma cloud that is really the hologram of the optical cortex is literally getting focused. And the sequence of how that happens can be described beautifully by children describing the sequence of steps just before they begin to see without their eyes. I thought that was a wonderful conversation, Iris. Anyway, I'm so glad Iris Huizing is here. So Iris has prepared a slideshow for us, which is beautiful. And Iris, maybe we'll stop a few times for a few questions at your convenience. So welcome, Iris from Netherlands.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dan, and it's very exciting to be here. So I've prepared a slideshow in which I will take you through the journey that I'm on since 2018, when I got in contact with these amazing abilities that we all have and that children have so easily access to. And I'm going to share with you my experience, what I've learned, and the insights that it gave me, and of course the amazing work that we do together with Dan and Patrick. And because it's so important to normalize this and to make it accessible for the whole world, actually. And science is a very important thing to make it more approachable for people who may have difficulties in believing that this is what we truly are. So I will now start my share screen and start the presentation.
Iris calls this returning to our senses, which is, I think, is a great name for it.
Oh yeah, I have to go up. Yes. Actually, it's literally returning to our senses on all levels. Because it is what we came to see, it is about balancing our brains. And with that, not only do we have access to our electromagnetic potential, but we also we get harmonized again, also in our psyche, in our emotional state, in accessing the greater potential of our brain capacity. The children become more empathic, their creativity starts flowing. They start to clean up the rooms by themselves, start asking more intricate questions. So it's much more than just an ability that we have. So returning to our senses, and I came to see it really takes a shift in perspective to understand who we truly are. So it's an exploration of our natural potential. And I'm now on slide 2, it works, right? You see the second slide? Do you see the second slide then?
Yes, I'm seeing it. It's working. Go ahead. Okay. Short introduction.
Yeah, so short introduction. I'm a mother of 4 amazing children and I live in the Netherlands. And since a year ago, I am involved in Metaal Cathedraal, Metal Cathedral, and we are a learning community in the Netherlands for regenerative living. And we inspire people with workshops and courses and lectures, all in the field of rediscovering the natural world, about water, natural energy, what's frequency consciousness, food, and biomimicry. So I guide the children in developing their clear vision and intuition. And I host trainer workshops because since I got in contact with this work, I really felt it's I want to contribute to bringing this back to the world. So now in the Netherlands, we are creating like a network of already 60 people, more than 60 people that did the trainer workshop. And I encourage really for parents, teachers, everybody to start doing it themselves, to start playing and then do the exploration themselves with the children. Well, the amazing EEG research with the Flame in Mind with Dan and Patrick, of course, and we'll talk about it later. So in 2018, I was trained by Nicola Farmer. She's EOV or a clear vision trainer in England, and she has her ICU awareness program. And after that, I also did an intensive internet study because I wanted to understand what is this, where is this going on in the world, what do we know about it, what science is available, and what different methods are there. So because I really feel so I found there are literally schools all over the world, all small practices with their own ideas and methods and approaches, and also explanations of what's happening. And I feel when we combine it all and bring it together, we can accelerate our learning and discovery. So I did an adult course in Germany with with the Zee- and Ohne Augen team, and they were trained by Mark Komisarov and his InfoVision methods. And I did an online training with Matthew Chen from Malaysia, a superhero training, and he also does the quantum speed reading with the children. So there's a lot of information, and now even way more than back in 2017 or 18. And that's a good sign, I think. If you now start to look for videos, you can find a lot of information. So I've learned a lot in the last years, also my own experience in working with the children and coming to see what's important in guiding them. And also since a while, I met a teacher from New Zealand. His name is Raymond Fernando, and he is trained in the Bronikov method. That's slightly different. So he also teaches quantum speed reading, and we are sharing and combining all of our knowledge. So here in the Netherlands, we're also going to start with a group of children with the quantum speed reading and spending spoons and all those nice things. Yeah, so I wanted to start with showing a video of Vindur. And this video was made by Patrick when he visited us here. Yeah, just let yourself be wondered, you know, how do children demonstrate so easily?
This is Vindur. She's one of the most talented, and she's featured also in the measurements we made on the website. And she sees without her eyes so clearly.
Yes. It's really a beautiful video. It takes 15 minutes. I'm not going to show it all, but it's really it's kind of meditation just to look at it.
And it's dramatic the way her brainwaves switch on that gamma quite dramatically, just as she decides to begin. Patrick,
yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to show that as well. It's later on in the presentation.
She's selecting the colors of the different piece of wood she is using, and she's selecting them in the big bag and choosing them, and it was really amazing.
She's getting the colors right each time. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's lovable too.
Yeah. And what's written beneath it, you might say, God was fair to children. He gave them the power to believe in themselves without any doubt. It's a quote from Frank Elaridi. He did a documentary with Nicolai in England. And it's true. It's this power that the children still have to believe in themselves without any doubt that we have lost or has diminished growing up in society.
That's one of the most amazing benefits of this program is, as Iris says, it teaches the children how powerfully they can believe in themselves, and it empowers their whole life. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So I will continue with the next slide. Yeah. So what we are, angels with amnesia. This is a photo of my son. And when he was 5 years old, he told me, you know, Mom, actually all people are angels. They've only forgotten about it. And I think that is so true. And that's the wisdom of the children that are still so connected to the field and consciousness and awareness. So I feel we are the light we are waiting for. And I really feel there is no external savior. It's all in us, and we are all powerful, and a shift in perspective can help us refine that again. So who we are, I will have to, oh yes, okay. Luminous beings. I'm gonna read this for you. In our original and natural potential and design, we are beautiful, loving, caring, compassionate, peaceful, bright, resilient, creative, powerful, co-creating social beings with capabilities that reach far beyond the material world. We thrive embedded in a strong community where we know each other and we feel seen and accepted, and where we can freely grow and develop by participating, exploring, and knowing ourselves part of the whole. When we retune to inner balance and to our innate moral compass, knowing good from evil, both in ourselves and in the world around us, by letting us be guided by our intuition, we will return to our all-powerful natural state. Because it's true, we are good. We are inherently good. And this is a scene of the Milgram shocking experiment. And this is in the book, Humankind, A Hopeful History by Rutger Bregman. He's a Dutch author. And he says, it's realistic as well as revolutionary to assume that people are good. It is time for a new view of human nature. And what's central in his book actually is that we are good until we are faced with so-called authority, or what we perceive to be as authority. And then we leave quite easily our own moral compass. So I think you may be all familiar with this experiment, but the man in the first 3 photos, he has to emit electrical charge to somebody in another room who's an actor and is not really being heard when he answers a question falsely. And there's a doctor beside this man urging him to continue with the experiments. And you can see the despair that he really doesn't want to do it, but he does anyway. Or a lot of people in a situation where they perceive to be an authority will comply. But in a, yes?
So the point is that it was only because there was an authority figure pushing in the wrong direction that people actually would hurt somebody. Normally their natural tendency was to be nice.
Yes, exactly. And it's the perceived authority, because of course this authority doesn't have any power, but we give it because we believe in the authority. So another item from this book of Rutger Bregman is the story of Lord of the Flies, which is a fictional story of boys landing on an island and turning into savages and hurting each other. While in reality, there really has been a group of boys who went on a boat and landed on an island and were there for several months. And in reality, when natural order occurs, these boys, there was a natural leadership, and they all cooperated, and they were the best friends for life. So what we learn in school is that we are egoistic, and it's not true. So Rutger Bregman says, our secret superpower is our ability to cooperate, and that is who we truly are.
Yeah, it was, so the famous book, Lord of the Flies, makes you think that boys would naturally turn bad, but actually, naturally, they turn good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it made me look into what is the origin of the belief system we have built around top-down hierarchy or authority. And when you look in the in the dictionary that shows the origin of words, when you look at hierarchy, you find the rank in the sacred order or the rule of the high priests. So it dawned on me that, okay, so in a natural order, we are next to each other. We know ourselves equal to one another, and you look to your left and your right to see your brothers and sisters. But when somebody enters a group and says, well, I'm a bit closer to God than the rest of you, what you then create is a power pyramid. And that is going upwards and downwards. So by what do we let ourselves be led in also modern, in the modern world? I think it never changed. This has been the game since ages. So natural hierarchy, I do believe there is such a thing as hierarchy, but it's in a natural way. It's never taken. It is serving and recognized by the rest of the group as wise and inspired example, based in equality and accepted and followed by free will. And that's very important, because recognizing that we are all equal and honoring the divine free will of yourself and of others breaks the spell of any power pyramid. Then it's level field again. And I really came to see that control stands in the way for the natural order to express itself. And some, for me, very inspiring sources are Mark Passio and his lecture on natural law. And the links are here in the slideshow, and I will share it so you can maybe look it up later if you like. And the other one is The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. And he shows how really 99% of all suffering on earth comes from the belief in authority. So all wars, like human beings don't create war. We don't create war. War is a game. So restoring our potential, our electromagnetic potential, our inner harmony by breaking the spell. So I draw the pyramid as a mental construct, an idea or a belief system that has been projected over our natural circle-based way of living in a natural order, which is based on self-organization, which can only occur in freedom, while the power pyramid is based on striving upwards and controlling downwards. And there's a whole list. This is only a very small part of what I wrote down, what follows from the mental construct of believing in hierarchy. It is egoism, it's competition, it's striving, it's the carrot and stick methods. While in the natural order, when we all know each other to be equal, then a pupil will find its teacher because he's inspired by the example of another. And I also told it last week that it can be a 4-year-old who's your teacher. You know, there's no difference also in age. When we're all equal, we really start acknowledging each other in a totally different way. So that's focused on us instead of me, on community instead of society, on own responsibility instead of following orders blindly, agreements versus contracts, inner freedom versus conditional freedom, sharing added value, contributing versus money as a power tool of suppression.
Listening.
Raymond. Tufan, can you maybe mute? Or can I?
It's not pod. 50 තියෙනවා නම් මට පැල දෙක තුනක් ගත්ත ගේතනේ.
Tufan, can you maybe mute Raymond?
After this, I will put I cannot mute it. Ability to mute. Dan is the creator.
Then you can go to my
Oh, that's Dan, probably.
Dan.
Raymond, we can hear everything you're saying. Could you please mute your microphone? Raymond Fernando.
Oh, yes.
So we are geniuses at birth. And there have been several studies and presentations that show this. And one of them is a very beautiful presentation by Sir Ken Robinson in a TED Talk, where he says, I believe that we systematically destroy the capacity for imagination in our children and in ourselves. And Alphabet is a documentary, an IDFA documentary by Austrian man named Erwin Wagenhofer. And his film is a tribute to the human imagination and an indictment of hierarchical education systems aimed at competition and quantifiable results. And the film, I could only find the film in German. The trailer is in English, so maybe if somebody finds this film in English, because it's really worthwhile. And there's also been a NASA study, actually, that they developed a questionnaire for their rocket scientists, and they also gave it to school children in different age stages. And they saw that the younger the children were, the more genius they are in problem solving and creativity. So this study also showed that we are born as creative geniuses, but the education system destroys our ability.
The key word appears to be destroys imagination. Steiner talks so much about that. When young kids spend so much time passively looking at a screen, the ability to IMAG, literally make a picture inside, and that's what needs to be nourished here, the ability to make a picture inside.
Yes, yes, and also the way that schools are set up. It's like a factory where all the children are lined up and the authority is standing in front of the class, funneling down the information into the children who are perceived as these blank sheets that should be filled, and totally not acknowledging the inner thrive for learning. And actually that is destroyed when the children are compelled to learn what they are presented. So it's in German, this white text on the black background. It says 98% of the children come in this world hoogbegaafd, like geniuses. And after school, only 2% remains. So this is...
And we've often talked about how Steiner sort of worked on that, teaches the children first to draw the rose so carefully, and then to close their eyes and visualize it. And then the room fills with the smell of roses. So closing their eyes was a key part of Steiner teaching kids to visualize as well. Yeah.
And this is our ability. We never lost it, but we may remember it again, because it's still there. We still have it when we break through all of the social programming that we have been subdued to. So the art of imagination, the magic that happens when we relax and turn inwards in a state of flow, where we bring new realities into existence by using our limitlessness, generative and creative electromagnetic power of visualization and coherent action. So left brain, right brain balance fused by the heart. That's where the magic happens.
And actually, the day that Patrick implemented 4-channel EEG in flameinmind.com, it showed in the literature that being in the flow literally was the relaxed rear brain dominance, which is very instinctive fast.
Yeah.
It's called in the flow.
So when we look at our energetic frequencies that we carry or produce or generate with our emotions, when you look at the top drawing of the slow wave, the low frequency, and you compare it to the high frequency, and you think of the middle line or the horizontal line as truth, the low frequency wave hits the line of truth only twice, like where I put on the vertical lines. And when you compare that to the high frequency state, it hits the line of truth or neutrality 11 times. And when you stretch out these lines, a low frequency line is a way shorter line than the high frequency line. like within 1 hertz, let's say. So, and we know that, of course, the low frequency images that are shown in cymatic are less intricate, less complex than the high frequency images. So it made me think that we know that high coherent frequency states like thankfulness, joy, and love are more complex, more intricate, can hold more information, more light than low frequency states like fear, hate, and anger. So we literally see more clear and are more aligned to truth in feelings of compassion and love and thankfulness and joy. We literally have more information to our disposal, and our consciousness is more wide, more open.
It was wonderful when Patrick showed that the trigger moment when the kids could see without their eyes was when they made that ladder, Stairway to Heaven, Cascade, from the low frequency alpha all the way to gamma. So the connecting ladder from low to high is literally the magic moment.
So another example of our bio-electromagnetic potential, this is John Chang, who is demonstrating when he fuses his plus and his minus energy, his chi, he is able to set a newspaper on fire. And he also performs electrical acupuncture with his own chi. So the seeing without our eyes is just one aspect, of course, of our abilities, next to remote viewing and astral traveling and healing and performing body scans, going inward and seeing where the energy is not flowing.
Yeah, we saw John Chang actually lights a fire with his own aura. And later, one of the members of Iris's group in the last meeting described discovering clairvoyance, look inside the body with the same skill, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I love that.
And also telekinesis and also telepathy. It's all in the same range of our capabilities when we restore back to balance.
So the skill to scan another's body clairvoyantly is triggered directly by the same process that Iris is teaching. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh wait, I think I missed a few slides. I'm going a bit back. Okay, yes, because we were here. Yeah. So our current state of chaos as adults in this world, I think is due to our dominant external focus. Instead of living from internally reacting to the outside world, we are trained in school and in society to react on the outside world first and then check inwardly. So our dominant external focus due to societal and cultural programming based on the illusion of existing power differentials, whether it's a blue police hat, or it's a tie, or it's an authoritative parent, or it's a teacher, or it's a doctor with a white jacket on, or it's a business card or an expensive car. We all perceive this as a kind of authority, or experts, or politicians, or whatever. And this has led to a collective and self-perpetual brain imbalance and incoherence between our minds and our hearts. So we're literally not at home because we're so externally focused, thus diminishing the plus and minus electromagnetic harmonic potential of our chi, of our light, to express itself. That's my idea. So the answer is know thyself. The only way out is in. Our ego identifications, which I think are formed like for a great deal by this belief in a pyramidal structure of society, our ego identifications are the masks that we unconsciously wear until we heal whole our brains, align them with our heart, and become realized once more. So the real you is what remains when the analytical risk assessing left brain mind becomes quiet enough. And even though we can also have right brain imbalances, it doesn't matter on which spectrum you are. It's both of them is like out of the central middle point of neutrality. So I think there are three states. We have love, fear, and non-duality. And I feel non-duality is the still point, the 0 point, where we can see the dualities all around us, but we are not attached to them emotionally anymore. And I feel we can heal and return to the full spectrum of our senses when we journey inwards, observe and become conscious and aware of the identifications we have with our thoughts, the limiting belief systems, and our emotions. Balancing, fusing, and imploding our plus and minus electromagnetic potential in still 0 point of non-duality. And then I think it's really funny that the blue and the red, the plus and the minus, the north and the south, when they are merged, they are this purple color. And I probably that's why you also call it the purple flame, right? And
yeah, it was called the perfect flame. Yes, yes. Well, this is good. We're already over half hour in, so let's get to what you actually do with the kids too here, Iris, please.
Okay. Yes, I will go through it quickly. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of analogy in the movies that we are shown. So finding the golden mean, the middle road, the narrow path is shown in a lot of movies. Understanding that divine proportions also occur in our psyche, and that we can be in tune or out of tune with harmony and the natural order.
It's beautiful.
So inner harmony and clarity is a natural gift when we align ourselves again, and then our life will be restored and we will literally start seeing clearly again. So the children are our enlightened teachers. They are still in wholeness. They are still more pure in their essence and balanced in their brains, the way we were created and the way we are supposed to be. So the children show this natural balance of the fine octave ratio that we can find everywhere in nature. And it's an expression of their whole brain balance and their full potential. And for kids, it's quite easy, and we can really take them on as our mentors, actually. So, of course, we did this amazing research into their brain states, and yeah, then I go back to this one, right? So then here the pink lines. So this is a screenshot from the Flame in Mind recording of Findur. Of one of the children when they experienced their blind sight or blind vision. And what we see, what Dan was talking about, is the ladder, like the stairway to heaven that they build up in harmonics intercorrelated between the various frequency states from delta to gamma. And the pink lines, they represent where octave ratios occur based on the peak and alpha. And the blue ones, they show where the phi ratio occurs in their brain waves.
And where I'm jealous of Vindur, there's, you see the ones in the 40 hertz range, she has these beautiful flashes around 44, 46, and that's gamma. And I can have beautiful bliss experiences, but I can't make that gamma, and I don't see without my eyes.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, so what we yeah, so I will continue now a bit. So first I will finish, and then maybe we can discuss more about the science and the work that and what you like get from this information, Dan and Patrick. Yeah, so I cannot. Yeah, I wanted to play this video, but it will be difficult to do it here because it's 19 minutes long, and I want to fast forward. So I can try, because I wanted to show the opening of her vortex. I can do it if I close now the share screen and open it again on the YouTube page.
As you
then
wish. It's up to you, Iris. If you want to try it.
I will try it.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, that literally a vortex of plasma is focusing inside the head, and the muscles you develop with the brainwave frequencies allows you to squeeze that vortex to a point. And so we're talking about visualizations to help kids actually visualize that vortex forming.
Yes, so I hope the audio will work. And we're going to start here with an introduction that you do, Dan, about your explanation of what's happening with the children. Oh.
So you might be asking, how is this possible? What is the science behind being able to see without your eyes? Apparently, these are not studied in the scientific community. Research in this field is still in its infancy. There was one study done in 2005 by Professor which showed that it is possible to see with a very physical reality moment in 20 minutes. We will link a video of this research in the description. Iris is now working with that. The science behind this.
Yeah, the sound is a little bit muted, unfortunately. But you can.
The magic here is not just eliminating the concept of blindness and seeing without your eyes. It's also about the magic of understanding the mechanism, the cause of vision. I mean, the evidence is so clear that, in fact, you can take your vision outside your head, whether you call it remote viewing, astral travel, lucid dreaming, or near-death experience. Millions of people have documented you can take your process of seeing outside your head. In fact, there's a charge field that's donut-like surrounding your head. And we believe now that you can teach how vision forms as a vortex inside that donut.
That Winter has worked with Patrick both, and together they have created the revolution at the same
Yeah,
time.
so the harmonics are actually enabling you to squeeze the vortex. That's the idea. That's very nice.
Yeah. And so now in a minute we will be witnessing how Vindir is closing and opening her vortex by intention.
We see the moment when she actually switches on her skill. There, you see the coherence grow there? It's amazing.
Yeah.
The harmonics are organizing. She's just going into her little trance state.
Yeah. So note here to the right, the blue and the pink ones, the beta and the gamma, they are very active while she experiences her sight. And in a minute, I will ask her to close her vision, so to turn it black again in the mask. And then I will hold up a card and I will tell her, okay, Vindir, here's a card, look at it. And then you will see the difference in the brain states while she experiences or when she closes the vision.
So her vision is on now and the pink is up. That's gamma. And then she turns it off. It's amazing. You can watch it happen.
Communication happens between neurons in the brain and terminations. Small electrical currents travel through the neurons.
So now we see her closing her vortex.
Yeah, she stopped. She stopped looking.
Yeah, she stopped. Yeah.
And see how the pink and blue, the gamma and the beta disappeared. A high frequency coherence went away when she turned off the inner vision. Clearly.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We can detect these brainwaves and analyze.
It's beautiful that Patrick got that software working so good.
So it's totally still now for her.
Yeah, now she's not. Yep.
Yeah. Now she's not seeing. Now it's totally dark in her mask.
Yeah. She can't see without her eyes now.
This is called
So here's my hand, and you see the vortex opening.
Now she wants to see again, and there goes the pink gamma. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That's amazing. She just switched it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's them gamma frequencies, man.
Yeah, and just by doing it, so it's just like Naki, just do it.
Yeah, it's like
by
an
intention.
Switch. She's got got the inner switch working. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that gamma coherence is rare, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, so we are curious. We would really like to do this measurement with more children in different states, and also when, for example, with the quantum speed reading, or when we start playing with bending spoons and compare this this information.
Yeah, see, that's a big peak in around 40 hertz gamma. They used to call it Tibetan gamma, but that's a skill that's wonderful for kids to develop, because it's once you get older, it's harder to develop that.
Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and then I will return to...
You're getting good at this, Iris. You're good.
Better and better.
There are a few questions in the chat window whenever you want to have a conversation.
Yes. Yeah, let's do that.
Tufan, do you want to moderate a few questions? Or like Dawn asked, does it make her tired or energized?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it tires the children a bit. And it's a process of adjustment also for their physical system. So in the beginning, when it's a process of opening up the vision. For some children, not at all, and they see instantly. But for some children, it takes some effort, and that can take some energy off them. But once the vision is opened and their whole system is like adjusted to it, then it doesn't anymore. And it doesn't take energy anymore.
Once they get used to it, that's great. Tufan, do you want to read a few questions? Tufan, your camera is kind of messing up. Maybe you want to turn your camera off, Tufan, because it's really, But Tufan, go ahead with questions then, briefly.
Yeah, there's one question from Kat. Are low frequency states also good, necessary though?
What we observed here is that the alpha is important. There must be some alpha and then a cascade upward. But the lower theta and delta, I don't think they're essential to this skill. I can make the low frequencies great and I can have bliss great, but I don't get the remote vision and I can't climb the high frequencies. So it's interesting. But the alpha was important. But lower than alpha, I don't know. Do you have a comment, Patrick? Or I don't think it was critical, because usually younger people don't get the really low frequencies. That's sort of symbolizes deep perception into the deep unconscious. And I don't think that's as common with young people actually as well. Go ahead, Tufan.
Okay, another question from Ellen. This may just be a placebo, but when I visualize a caduceus in my mind while exercising, I do feel energized for a few seconds. Any reason why?
Well, I mean, a caduceus cascade would be implosive, so that should be a useful visualization. We're working with Iris to develop some more visualizations for kids, like, the perfect vortex, the perfect tornado. And the tornado is essentially a caduceus on its side, so yes.
Okay. Omer asks, how long does it typically take
to teach a child? Go ahead, Iris.
Yes, that varies a lot. So I will start with the story of Rens. And Rens was a boy and he was 7 years old. And I went for the first time to his house, and I had given his mother a video of children playing in an indoor playground in these carts. In these, they were driving in the playground with their masks on. And I thought a boy of 7-year-old will like this. So I said to her, just show him this and ask him if he would like to do this as well. So the first time I came in, and he was really enthusiastic, and he wanted the mask immediately. So I gave it to him and I said, try it on and I'll have a chat with your mom. And so he was standing next to me and he put on his mask, and immediately, without any word from me, I saw his head turning, and he said, I see already. So that's just by example. So that's really also the power of affirmations. This is like the power to believe in yourself without any doubt.
He had seen his brother succeed. Was that it also? Or
no, that was one of my children. That was the older brother of, that was Lucas actually.
Yeah.
And he had seen his younger brother do it. So he came into the room and he said, oh, give me the mask, I want to try. So he put it on, and like within a minute, he said, oh, look, I see the car standing outside.
Yeah, enthusiasm being key factor there. But older people.
Actually, this is it, because what I learned from Nicola and also in Germany is that we adults tend to think in exercises and protocols and trying, and while I start to see more and more that actually if the children would start showing it amongst themselves, it would be way quicker spread all over the world.
Because once the children
Iris.
Yes.
I have Maya and Veda here.
Hey, Stefan.
They've been with Iris and her just like a month now. And I told them they had to go to sleep because I was going to be in this call, and they didn't want to go to sleep. So they made a lot of noise and they wanted to be here. So if you want, you can.
Amazing.
You can, because they can see you.
Turn your screen.
Hey, hi, Maya.
Turn your screen share off, Iris, and we'll have.
Oh yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And then we can see them. So these are the kids.
Yeah.
So these are Iris's star pupils right here.
Yeah. From a month ago we started. So if you can, you want to show them some fingers, they can.
Yes, Iris. Can they see?
Then you want to hold up some fingers?
Okay. How many fingers?
Go ahead, vertel Maya. Doe maar met je vingers.
Look, she got it?
Super. Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. So they could see me on the screen and they're blindfolded.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. Or maybe you can draw something and they can tell you what you drew. Do you have a piece of paper then?
Oh, well. Here. I'll draw it. Okay. So here I have a. There.
Wat heeft hij getekend, Maya? Kan je dat tekenen? Ja, doe maar met je vingers. Ja. She's drawing.
Oh, okay. She see it. Aha, look at that.
Yay.
So, I drew a square and she saw the square, and yet she's blindfolded. So they're in that state, right? They've prepared.
Yeah.
That's great. Kids. Well, wonderful, girls. Thank you so much for showing us. Beautiful.
We'll go to bed now. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Slaap lekker, meisjes.
Thank you, girls.
Doei.
Blessings, gratitude. You're very good. Wonderful.
A question from Earthen Hand.
Yes.
Are the children trained in this skill also able to see interdimensional visions or beings?
Well, I have not encountered that yet, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I would think they would be able. I think we have access to a different frequency dimension, so I would say that.
We actually planned a series where we wanted to test their ability to see elementals and nature spirits. So we're planning some tests in that regard, actually. But apparently obviously we could kind of suggest what's there to them to help lead them to that.
Yes. Yeah, that's so important. Yeah, to let it happen.
Then can I answer that question?
Go ahead. Well, yeah, sure. Okay. Yes.
About seeing entities, I do have cases of children, but it is not advisable because unless they are prepared, they will be scared.
Aha, right.
I have children. My brother has trained children, and they are able to see their dead relatives. But in Sri Lanka, it is acceptable, so they are not so scared. But in Western countries, people may not be ready for such an experience. I had a child from Mexico. The parents were a little concerned, so I stopped it.
Aha. We should introduce Raymond just very briefly. Raymond is a partner with Iris who's doing very advanced teaching work with this in, is it New Zealand where you are, Raymond?
Yes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Raymond is an experienced teacher of this technique, everyone, and should be introduced and appeared in Iris's teaching course. And that's wonderful that you explained that, Raymond. So in other words, it would be natural for kids to be able to see, even to some extent, ghosts and dead relatives. But where in the East, this is accepted in normal, so kids aren't afraid of it. But in the West, where this is not accepted so much, this might intimidate the children. So we have to be very careful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I always tell, I'm sorry.
Also, my sister-in-law, she continuously speaks to my dead father. She gets messages, and it's quite acceptable there.
In that culture, yeah. So it depends a lot. Where here it would really, yeah. So,
I also would like to add, when the ley lines are broken, and depending on where the location is to that connection, yes, kids can see and interact with interdimensional beings and etc. It very much so depends in the aura or the area that they're in, where the connection is happening. Because in certain places where the ley lines are broken, they could get visitors that may not be welcome. And this isn't that they want to tap into them, but the surroundings from cell phone towers to the Wi-Fi to all these frequencies that can break their defense. This could happen often. I also wanted to add, in the lower dimensions or lower frequencies, that one of the questions is, Iris spoke about non-duality. So as I call it, wholeness. For kids that aren't able to fully grasp or are just adapting to the frequencies that are happening right now on the planet, this is a little bit separate, but for somebody that is on a spiritual journey, that is expanding the aura, that is giving you the power to move through these timelines, wholeness and understanding the negative and the positive gives you, like, if you turn on just the cold water, there's a certain amount of water that comes out. But if you turn on the cold and the hot, it's stronger, meaning that the stronger vibration is being whole and understanding the negative and the positive together. It gives you the power that you need to work through the dimensions.
This is great. And Russ is very sensitive in his own right. And there'll be more conversations about this. Russ made a wonderful point that the presence of the magnetic line would affect these sensitivities. So even dousing the PowerPoint in the room. So this is all wonderful and fascinating. But we should turn this back over to Iris here. Thank you so much, Russ and Raymond, very much. Go ahead, Iris.
Yeah, it's beautiful, really important.
Were there more questions for right now? Tufan, do you think, or what's your thought here?
There is one more question from Eric's. Iris, have you or can you test the kids with the Uno cards flip around so color of the card is away from the head? So reverse of way you do it now.
No, yes, it's on the back side of the card, like?
I think this is what Eric's means.
Yes, that you lie like blind on the table, and that they will see through the card. They will know what.
Yeah.
Yes. That's. I didn't do this. Yeah, we started with one boy. We started to try or to play with this, but that is very much an ability we also have, and you can also hold colored cards like behind the door, so you can close the door with, and I hold the color on the other side of the door, and then they will be able to see what color there is. So this, so the reading the books or walking through the room is, then they have the vision of their physical location, but you can extend it to other rooms or other parts of the world, or Yeah, and coming back for a second to what we were just discussing about the children, that they might be start seeing things. I always tell them once this vision is open that they are in charge, that they are like their own inner master and they can choose whether they want to use it or not. So like Vinder, that she could shut off her vision just by intending it. So I don't explain to the children, you know, what might happen, but I do give them like this empowerment of that they are in charge.
That's a good point. So that helps them to feel that they can make the choice. If they don't want to see their dead relatives, they don't have to. But
yeah.
Yes, and this, it does show that there's parallel here to training for remote viewing as well. Excellent, thank you.
We do have a couple more questions. Shall we continue with the questions, or would you like to complete your presentation, Iris?
No, it's okay. We can do some questions.
Sure. Anthony asks, what exercises assist in getting both hemispheres working together?
Yeah, so I will maybe explain in short how when a child for the first time comes to me, there are some things that we can do. Like we can, first I might give them a blanco sheet of paper and 2 pens. And then I invite them to write their name with the hand that they usually don't use when writing or drawing. So the other hands. So, and then they write their name, and then I invite them to take 2 pencils or pens, and I say, okay, now we're gonna write your name mirrored. So we start in the center and you write outwards. So 1 to the left, 1 to the right. So you can also, we discussed it last week also, I invite them to do the infinity sign. With 2 hands. This is actually also what they do in the Steiner schools, drawing synchronized. And then added, there's this very beautiful exercises you can do. It's called the infinity walk.
Yes, I put it in the chat. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so then you use your whole body to make this movement of the infinity sign. By placing 2 items on the floor and you start walking around it. With your head facing at the same center point. So you don't move your head, only your body makes this form. So those are like brain exercises. You can also do brain gym using your hands with the left and the right brain, making different movements, like for example, this one, and then you switch. And you have a lot of different exercises to do this. You can visualize there's a ball in front of you, and with one hand is going over the ball, and the other hand is coming towards you. And then you bring them together and you make this counter movement with 2 hands.
Beautiful.
And
exactly.
So,
and the literature actually shows, like the infinity walk, figure 8 motions, the cross crawl, mechanically force the blood across the corpus callosum and tighten the figure 8 knot, which is imploding the vortex, obviously. And they even say, you know, they've proven medically that they can dramatically assist with dyslexia with exactly that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for daily exercises for kids, I would really recommend like when they brush their teeth. If they brush it with one hand, have them brush it with the other one. Make it a game. Make it interesting for them. Giving a mental note on how to give these brain exercises a fun game. If they're doing any types, if they're learning the alphabet, you know, write down 10 times A, B, C with your right hand, 10 times with the left hand. These types of little. You incorporate these types of movements in a daily exercise, and this will build the muscle brain, the muscle, the pineal gland, etc.
Yeah.
Ambidextrous kinds of things. Nice, nice.
Yeah, and the same thing we can do for developing the intuition. So you can also make it a game of when you walk outside and you think of what color will the car have that will come around the corner, for example, or when you're on the phone with somebody, what is the color of the clothes that this person is wearing? Or when you're outside in public and you're walking the stairs, that before you start climbing, you ask yourself, how many staircases are there? So that's the same with the intuition, and we also have games for intuition. So I use these paper cups, and I have a lot of them on the table, and I hide a small ball. So first I give the ball to everybody in the room to really connect to this ball, really observe it, take it in, the color, the feeling, the sense of this ball, make a strong connection with it, then turn away from the table or close your eyes. I will hide the ball. And when I tell you, you return to the table and you let yourself be guided by your intuition to tell me under which cup the ball is. So it's a lot of playing games, which makes it fun, and they really like it. And that's the important thing, that it shouldn't be a must or a training or an exercise or it should be fun, fun exploration.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Work. No one wants to work. It has to be, make it a game, and then you can actually.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. So then after these games, and I take them through a guided meditation or visualization. And it's not necessary to do it. It can help if they are. Actually, it's the energy of a 7-year-old that is eager to do something, and he's playful and curious. That is what brings what makes it easy for them to experience the clear vision. And you can do exercises and meditations, but if you notice that it's if they are bored by it, then I shouldn't, and then I wouldn't do it. I would just go playing with them. When I take them through a meditation, it's just to connect to their inner light and to expand their light and to release all negativity like that they might experience. And then I invite them to, with their energy, come out of their body and fly circles around the room and then come back to their body. And then we sit down and I present them a book. And it should be a colorful book with a lot of contrast in the colors, because contrasted colors are easier to see or to perceive or to pick up than more fake colors or pastel colors. And then I will guide their attention. So I will tell them, hold the book, they hold it in themselves, and I will instruct them, because then you activate the right brain. Instead of asking questions, then you trigger the analytical mind, and that we want to bypass a little bit. So I instruct them, look at this book and start looking for colors and give me feedback. Tell me if there's a color. And I encourage them a lot. So it's the most important thing is helping them to get into the flow of trusting their own perception, and that they dare to speak out what they experience, without feeling ashamed or insecure or whatever. So if they will say, I see yellow, I say, amazing, there's yellow. Because, for example, here's like an orange kind of color. Because at first, the colors that they perceive might not be exactly what you see. Blue and green look alike, but also blue and red, and also yellow and green. So at first, it's a process of calibration for their brains, I guess, of letting the colors become more clear, really that they. So usually it starts at first with sensing the colors, either seeing them or knowing them, but you can also feel them. You can hear colors, you can smell colors. So there's different approaches or entries. And I will encourage them to speak whatever they experience. And that helps them to get more confidence, and that helps the flow, to get them into the flow. And then slowly it becomes more clear to them that really here's green, and this is a lighter green than this. And and then usually I continue with a few pages and I direct their attention. So I keep some kind of a tempo for the same reason as to bypass the critical mind, because when there's a big pause, they might start analyzing or doubting or whatever. So I keep a kind of pace, and then maybe I will move on to these cards. So I will present them, I give them a card and I say, just Do your exploration with this card. Look at it from all angles, hold it near, hold it close, play with how the light falls on it, and just to do your own exploration. And it's important to give constructive feedback, and that's a nice exercise for us adults who have been programmed in it's good or it's wrong, it's correct or it's wrong, because it is not correct or wrong, it's their perception. And so if they will say, I see green, I will say, amazing, this is blue, you're holding a blue card, and for you this looks now as green. So their perception is leading, not yours, not mine. Like, I'm a space holder, I'm like a tour guide in their own experience. And then maybe I will switch to doing a game. So I invite them to come sit on the floor, and I have a ball, and I will show them with their hands what the area is of the play field that's in front of them. And I will place the ball somewhere, and they still wear their masks. And I tell them this is an intuitive game. And when I tell you to reach out with one hand directly towards the ball, go and grab the ball. It can help calling their name in this as well. So like Maya, catch the ball, go grab the ball. And do it immediately. Let yourself be guided. So and it's amazing how often they just pick this ball, well, exactly where it's at. But for some children, they need more space and start sensing with their hands over the field where the ball is. And for others, it works better if they just do it, if they react instantly when I tell them to. So that's all about looking really who's in front of you. What do you need from me for you to enter your free zone, your flow?
And build confidence. It's amazing. The confidence keeps building. So first they realize they can see colors without their eyes. And then Iris talked about suddenly they start to see like sparkles, and then.
Yeah, well, usually it starts like this. But a lot of children tell me exactly this, is that they see kind of a starry night. So all white dots of light inside the mask, and then they might merge or they become bigger. And that spot at some point really literally opens up and they see through it. And at first it might not be clear. Like they might say, I see orange here. And then I tell them, okay, show me with your finger the area where you see the orange. And they might do like this, and then, but maybe it's not really that they see the face of Peter Pan yet, but it will become clear. So it may take a little bit more time. And for other children, it's they instantly recognize, oh, look, it's Peter Pan, and there's Wendy, and there's a church. And then, so when I notice that their vision becomes more like clear and accurate, I will usually direct them to an area on the, like for instance, like an area on the page where there's a very distinct contrast. So maybe here I will tap, I say, look here, tell me what you see. And then they might really distinguish the form because it's so distinct in contrast from the other images on the page. And that can help really to open it up. And also when the vision is opened, usually it's a very tiny hole at the beginning. So they really move their head a little bit and try to focus. And I can help them widen their view by an exercise that I say, okay, now you see my fingers, tell me stop when you cannot see both of them anymore. So I will slowly like move away, and they might say stop, and I say, okay, now tell me when they reappear, and they say, yes, they're there, okay, and then I widen, stop. And then you can expand really their vision. And then it's much easier for them, and then you can go walking around in the room or placing these cups on the floor and for them to pick it up. But usually I first start where they are sitting to have them get adjusted a little bit to their new abilities. And then maybe we can start rolling balls to each other. Yeah, because then you have a moving object that's coming towards you and that needs some adjustment in your 3D perspective. Because at first it might be that they see clearly the ball or the cup, but when they try to get it, they will do like this, you know, so it's not really aligned yet in the 3D space. So, and then they try it a few more times and then they're accurate, and then and then slowly you can do other things.
You can just imagine the kids are actually learning to sort the fact that a little vortex is formed and they line it up and see through it like a pinhole camera, literally. And, you know, I just realized what that's called. They call it depth of field, and it's controlled by something called the iris.
Oh, really? Nice.
Your name is perfect.
I'd like to add that higher levels of oxygen to get in the flow state for myself. I've noticed higher levels of oxygen really help. So going over with the kids, or even for adults, breathing exercises, getting some type of a way of, even if it's a couple minutes, just full breaths in, full breaths out. There's many techniques, and we'll go over it also in other meetings. To that said, for kids, when I started teaching kids, I realized that many kids, some are visual, some want to hear more, some are hands-on. So always be aware that not every child, not every person in general, how they interpret the information, we have to make it a game, so it goes in more of a fun exercises to tune into each child. Everybody's different. Also, I would like to, there's a couple questions when we began that we didn't go over yet. At what age do we start to see a sharp decline in this ability to see with our eyes closed? Or what causes us to start losing this ability?
Yes, well, I think so that our societal structure is due to that. Because like for this NASA study also showed it, that there was a diminishing from children that were 5-year-old till 10 years old, that their genius abilities really dropped. And I feel it's because we have them sit down in a classroom and they have to obey and do what as they're told, instead of being able to follow their own intuition and attention and curiosity and intrinsic learning motivation. So when I was in Germany with the adult course, there was a group of 12 people, 5 days long intuition games and playing with the masks. 8 of them could read letters at the end of the week, and they were all adults. So it's there for all of us. Also, Katharina Friedrich, she guided a woman who was, I think, over 90 years old. And she was losing her sight, and she could eventually see with the mask on. So I think it's there. It's there for all of us, and we have to be careful, I think, with adding more limiting belief systems in what we can or cannot do.
Nice. Well, that was great, Iris. So was there some more key points that you wanted to make where it's 9:20 here? There's a question. Have you tried this process with autistic people?
Yeah, there was a boy, ADHD, and he was on the autistic spectrum. And what we saw was that he really calmed down. Like, he could be quite explosive. And another example was David. He was a boy of 8 years old. And when I first met him, he was really very easily frustrated when something didn't work for him. And he would really start being frustrated. And after, I don't know, 10 times, I saw him for 10 times, and it was his goal to be able to ride his bike with the blindfold on. And his dad sent me a video, I think in 10 weeks time, that he was driving in the neighborhood. And the last time I saw him, he was building, because he liked to knock over a tower of these cups with his Nerf gun, this plastic gun. And he was building his tower, and it fell over. And he started rebuilding it, and again it fell over. And again, he started rebuilding it without any frustration. It was such a huge difference from the first time that I saw him till that day, that he was really, really way more balanced and had control over his emotions and his frustrations.
And he was doing this blindfolded in part. Interesting. Yeah. Yes. And Raymond makes a good point that they sometimes darken the room. That's very interesting. And I do think that Russ's point was excellent about breathing exercises too. That's all very relevant for the oxygen. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, and Stephen, who was with his little girls here in our meeting, he sent me an email that he tried to turn off the lights one by one in the room where the girls were wearing the mask. And eventually there was only one candle, and he and his wife could not read anything, and they could still. And then when the candle was blown out, their sight also closed. And I know that it doesn't have to be that way. So I'm curious to whether it's like a programming of, because you think when the light's off, you cannot see. Because at Vindur, one day we went into a very darkened bathroom with no windows to see if she could see our hands. So we were holding up fingers for her in total darkness. And she saw like shiny white sticks. That's how she described it. So she saw our fingers in total darkness.
The funny thing is that I blew out the candles, but they didn't know that I diminished light constantly. They didn't know. But at the moment that I blew out the last candle, then they say, "Hey, what happened?" And
really?
I couldn't see anymore. That was the strange thing.
Yeah,
it's like they were seeing an X-ray of the inner glow or something.
Yeah, but so we have now two different like situations where Stephen's children, they didn't know that the light was turned off, and eventually when the last candle was blown out, they couldn't see anymore, while they didn't know. And Vindur, when I took her in this bathroom and she knew it was gonna be dark, and I asked her to see if she could see my fingers, she could. So there's so different experiences with this, because also, for example, Vindur, at once she said, we were sitting near the school somewhere on a bench, and she was closing her eyes and just looking at me with closed eyes. And then she said, "Oh, wow, you are very far away right now." And a minute later, "Oh, you are very close by." So she had a zoom effect.
Aha. Yes, like an X-ray. Yes, and I think there was another clue in the Mexican study where they said that if there's more skin exposed, the skill is a bit better. Whereas if the skin is covered, actually, I think it has to do with the way the charge reaches the body as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that, last week we also mentioned being grounded. So best way to be bare feet in nature and in indirect sunlight.
Yes, yes. So grounding, and it's true that if you're heavily clad, your body can't implode charge, obviously.
Yeah.
And also really light natural clothes should help.
Yeah.
Like hemp or cotton. Yeah. Interesting. So
I heard
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I read this week somewhere that peat is a very good fabric or material for fabric that is really the ability to, I don't know, for conduction.
Peat would be high dielectric, hemp would be high dielectric. Yeah. Interesting. So it's built, the body needs to implode the charge, and grounding is relevant, breathing is relevant, relaxation is conductive, etc. It all fits.
Yeah. Coherent water.
Yes, coherent water, breathing, yes. Well, this is good. Well, so Iris, did you want to kind of, make a climax or,
Yes, I'm gonna, yes, I will return to, the share screen.
Briefly, the last slides, just so.
Yes. I will skip through some. You see my slides again?
Yes, we're seeing your screen.
Okay. As we saw, so space holding, back to our essence. So I think we are all born enlightened, and it's time that we remember we're all angels. Yeah, so intuition, I got this, there's so much in words, and intuition is instruction, teaching, intuition, our inner guidance. So that it came to me that it's this very quiet feeling or voice, you know, that's always right, it's always correct. Could this be like God speaking through us, to us, you know, because it's always right, you know, so it is like golden mean information that you're accessing then. Yeah, so this was a very nice one. Maybe you know Santos Bonacci, I think his name is, and he had a very beautiful analogy, and then I'll wrap it up with this. It's a few minutes, a short video, and he talks about the pineal gland. And
we cannot hear the sound, Iris.
you cannot hear it?
No.
Okay, so what he's talking about Pinocchio. The movie also starts with a pine cone. And so the name Pinocchio is the pine eye. So pin is the pine, and occhio in Italian is eye. It's the Italian word for eye. So the story of Pinocchio is in order to become a real human, we have to stop going to the carnivals, know when you are deceived by your friends, be sober, and make your journey inwards, and then your I will become single again, and you will become self-realized like a real human being. So I thought it was a beautiful description, actually, of of what's happening. Yeah, so
I love the pine cone eye. That's perfect. Pinocchio. It's perfect.
yes, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, no, so this is actually, so my last one was remember, yeah, of course, we really truly are powerful beyond belief. And yeah, it's amazing that we are refining our abilities together. So thank you all for listening to what I had to share.
There were some beautiful insights there. Really nice, Iris. And I think people really appreciate.
Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe, yes, you turn off your screen so we can see you. Tufan, did you see any other interesting questions that we should play with briefly?
Well, there are a couple of, like, I think 3 questions. If we have time, we can go over them quickly, if you wish.
Yeah, let's play a little bit more, maybe.
Sure. Ro is asking, is this the same as remote viewing?
Yeah, and we kind of covered this a little bit, that initially the kids see what's in front of them. Gradually they can see through a door. And so I think if, Iris, would you guess that if you actually asked the kids to develop the remote viewing a part of it, they could actually learn to specialize? It would evolve quickly.
And I think if you start with that, then that's what they will experience.
Yeah, yeah. I think the physics fits here, that it's a vortex of plasma, and the skill to learn to gradually take it out of your body would be powerful, but issues of grounding. So for hygiene reasons, I think it's probably best to leave the kids focused locally first before they get that sense of work, because there are lots of astral hygiene issues about, you know, at a distance. So we start gently here. But yes, we think the physics is clear. You tighten this plasma vortex, and when you get a good handle on it, then that is also remote viewing and literally lucid dreaming as it occurs with Therify.net. And eventually that is literally what's happening at death. So that coherence training is a beautiful thing for lots of reasons.
Okay, Anthony is asking, is the success rate in reading dependent upon the administrator of the test seeing, or is it independent upon a second observer?
Oh, interesting. Do you understand that, Iris? So in other words, if you were showing something that you yourself could not see, would the child see it?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, because sometimes I will ask them just to make a drawing, you know, and then it will come out of their own imagination what they would like to draw. Yeah, so it has nothing to do with what I see.
It would seem that this was independent, that it's not dependent on the teacher, although I'm sure there could be some influence, but ultimately the children would be trained here, that they're not depending on the teacher seeing.
No, because when I work with them and they hold a book, they will hold it. I will not be sitting next to them. I may be sitting in front of them. So if they open a book and I hold it like this, I don't see what they are looking at. You know, so it may be like this, and then maybe I will come next to them. But
good point. So they've shown that they can see what's in the book, even though you can't. So I think that does nicely answer the question. Great. Good, Tufan. Other question, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, last question from Omer. I am trying to get my daughter to try it. Do you hold session with other children so it is easier and quicker for them to understand and start to experience?
Yeah, so that works also different for different children. It's so important to connect to the child and what they need, because for some children it will be uplifting to be in a group of children and to hear them having their experiences. But for other children, it will put them down. They will put themselves down, because then they might doubt, oh, he can already do it and I still can't. And so it differs. For some children it will, and it also has a lot to do with your own energy, and that's what I didn't really talk about, but the importance of understanding the influence you have with your energy field on the children. So feelings of doubt or looking for results, you know, wanting them to see things or to start seeing things, that's like can also make it more difficult for the children to enter their free zone. So that's maybe the one slide. I will not bring those slides back, but I will take you through it very.
We did find that with Therify as well, that sometimes if there's other people present, it can add to the energy. But if anybody that's skeptical arrives, it will really weaken the healing effect.
Yes, and that's so true also for the vision, especially because it's a process, and sometimes it takes a few weeks or some time to really for them to really start trusting, hey, you know, what they experience with their mask on. If there's a skeptic parent or uncle or grandparent or friend or whoever, I always tell them, the children themselves, when you feel that you are ready to share it with other people, you know, do it. And to the parents, I tell, if you know that there will be skeptical adults, be mindful about it, because one remark can really close them down.
Yeah, they're very sensitive. So if there's a skeptic, you have to be very careful. So you want to start with them only in a very positive environment initially.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Hey, Raymond Fernando asked an interesting question. What if the child can read the test paper the teacher has prepared for tomorrow?
Yes, yeah. Yes, exactly.
In other words, they're training to be psychic here. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I have one exercise that sometimes I share with the children, although I do need to feel in myself, is this morally correct also? Because this is what I learned also from Nicola. I believe there's an exercise that in 3 weeks time, first week when you're in school, when your teacher is talking, 1 second after he or she spoke words, repeat it in your mind. So you do that for a week. And then second week, at the same time that your teacher is speaking, try to speak the exact same words in your mind. So the third step would be 1 second before the teacher starts speaking, try to see if you can already know what they will be telling.
It's interesting when we measured telepathy training, we get octaves in EEG spectra. So it's literally embedding. It's really great. Iris, it occurred to me that you're having a series of trainings, aren't you, where you're teaching teachers to teach this, right? And if people wanted to be part of that, question mark, or?
Yeah, so in the Netherlands, I do train a trainer, but that's for people in Holland. And that's really nice because we have then a full day and I take them through the context and the science and the experience all together. And but Raymond and I, we teamed up and we are going to combine all of our knowledge. And it's both Raymond's and my wish to share this information and to accelerate this learning about our abilities. So we did last week one first trial of an online 3-hour like seminar setting, and it's not as elaborate, or the experience is different, of course, than a full day workshop face to face. That's more nice, but we do want to like facilitate that we can transfer everything that we learned to other people. So we are at the start of offering more of these international online settings in which we share everything we learned.
Great. And so if people want to contact you or be part of that, or
yes, yeah. So Metaalkathedraal is the place where I work from in the Netherlands, and I have an email address, and that's alchemist@metaalkathedraal.nl. Maybe I can I write it somewhere?
I'll put the Metal Cathedral. So I just put the metaalcathedral.nl link in the chat window, everyone. So that's the website there. They just launched a Therify there with Iris's wonderful partner, Maureen. And so and your email then is at metalcathedral.nl.
Yeah, alchemist.
Alchemist at. So you just put alchemist at, and there's a link, metalcathedral.nl. Notice the 2 A's there. So check the spelling carefully of Metal Cathedral. The link is in the chat window, metalcathedral.nl.
Yeah, and Raymond's, maybe you also want to share your email address?
Yes, so Raymond is teaching this at a very significant level there in New Zealand, and a real resource. Thank you, Raymond. So do you want any contact info or link for you there, Raymond? Yeah, Raymond.
We cannot hear you, Raymond. Please unmute your mic.
Yeah. Oops.
Okay, sorry. So tomorrow we have another workshop, 3 hours, but it will be more practical and more towards helping adults to experience. And you can either contact through Iris, or I will put my email address now, yov1946@gmail.com.
Great. So we have Raymond's email there, or via Iris. So they're starting advanced training, and they're going to focus then on teaching adults to have some experience. Amazing.
Yeah, and as Raymond was saying, because it will be like Amsterdam time, Tuesday morning from 8 till 11, and then for Raymond it's 12 hours later.
Yeah.
So it's this next Tuesday again from 8 till 11.
Tomorrow. That's tomorrow for me.
That's right.
Oh,
yeah.
for you it's tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in a different day as well. Well, that's great. So people who are interested in contact Iris or Raymond. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and maybe already for this coming seminar, this coming Tuesday, or for you tomorrow, Raymond, if people like, then I would suggest that they email you, because you have now the list of the invitees for.
Yes. People are asking what time zone. So that's 8 a.m. Tuesday, European Paris, Amsterdam time, which is much different in the New Zealand time. So it is confusing. I think Russ wanted to say one more thing. Did you, Russ, or were you finished there?
Well, I had a little comment before. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Iris.
No, sorry, mistake. Sorry. 8 a.m., 8 p.m. for me.
That's right.
Sorry, I put a wrong time.
Yeah, it's
8 a.m.
Amsterdam time. Yes, that's right.
Right. So Iris mentioned Santos Bonacci, and it's funny that that was probably my first introduction with Dan when I first started hearing all the information. Was roughly, if I saw it right, it was about 11 years ago when Dan and Santos and Seven Bomar, they were on, they had a conference call. It was pretty interesting information, but we've been doing this all this time, and the etymology that is behind Pinocchio, from the pineal gland to, for everybody to remember that there's a spell in the spelling and there's a curse in the cursive. So there's so much information that we'll get probably more deeper into it in other meetings. So I'm waiting for you guys there also.
Thank you, Russ. And I really love Iris's name for this, returning to our senses. That's what this is about. And working with the kids, this is our vision. So thank you, Iris, for being there. And thank you, for Patrick, for writing the software. And so now people know how to get in touch with Iris versus this website. Any final thought, Iris, that you want before we close?
No, I think it's really great that I'm able to share this in a much broader, everything everywhere around the world, and I'm really thankful for you all being here and connecting with you, and looking forward to more.
Yeah, the sensitivity you're developing to encourage the kids to do this is priceless. So we're really proud to help you share with this world with the great. And the fact that we added that little piece, which is, we can measure the science. The physics is the implosive compression is measurable. Suddenly the science is not speculation. This is clear and science, solid physics of perception, which gives us a beautiful underlying. We can teach this at a professional level. So this is wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Remember, we have another fun class next Sunday. Thank you, Russell. Thank you, Tufan. And above all, thank you, Iris. And blessings to everyone who's here. Let's stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Such a blessing. We're family.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.